Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a card, or actually two cards, about food trucks, those ever popular food trucks that are quite the rage today. So I hope you will enjoy. I'm going to start off with this stamp set, and it is from Stampin' Up. I've had it a while, but I have not used it yet, and I think it is still available on eBay Stampin' Up, if you're interested. So here I am going to start off stamping the food truck first, and I'll use it with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to stamp it off onto a sheet of copy paper here because I'm going to use that for a mask, and I ended up stamping 3 of them there. Now I'm stamping it onto the cardstock, and this is a 5x7 card. I'm going to make 2 of them. So I'll go ahead and cut out my mask, and I'll speed through this, and don't need to show you all of it, but you know what I mean. And so I just place it loosely on top, and when I stamp straight down on it, it shouldn't move. And it's easy enough to line up, judging by the tires and the ground below. And I'm making these trucks, I'm going to do 3 of them in a straight line. 2 of them behind the one in the middle. Now, as you can see, the first one did not stamp off all the way. My fault, I'm sure. And so I'm just going to take a sheet of paper, that same paper, and cover up what part did stamp, and I'm going to try to line that up so that I get the front of the truck. I can kind of see through the copy paper. So I'll take my Zig Millennium pens and just fill out what did not stamp. Go over it a couple of times, the tire, and then the lines may not have lined up exactly right, but I'll just put a little zigzag in there and make it a design element. Now this is going to be the second card, and I'll stamp it in the middle, but this time, use my mask, this time I'm going to stagger the 2 background trucks and make them higher than the one in front. And so these cards are going to be very similar. I'm just showing how I kind of line them up, kind of match up where the lines are and visualize that. And so then on this stamp set, I'll try to get rid of the glare there. You can see these little tiny elements that are cupcakes and ice cream cone and the banners there, and I'm not quite sure where I want to put the banners, so I use those little pieces there on the copy paper and use them to experiment with as to where I think the banner looks the best. I thought I wanted it hanging from the awning, but it didn't really fit very well, I didn't think. So I played around and decided, well, I can just have it hanging off the shelf that the food sits on or gets served over, and I'll put it there. So doing 2 cards at one time here. Now this is a string of sausages or hot dogs. This is going to be the hot dog food truck. And even though I think it's safe with that ink on there that it won't get on the card, I didn't want to take a chance. So you'll see me wiping the ink off on a lot of this just to be sure. I filled in a little bit of that sausage string that I didn't quite get covered. Now some of the other things I'm going to use are cupcakes, and I stamped them on the copy paper, and I'm glad because you see the first one stamped off really heavy, and I saw that I could use a lighter touch, and that's what I'm doing, and it stamps beautifully. And I've always loved Stampin' Up stamps. I think they're good, and been using them for 15 years, I guess, but never been a dealer, but I just buy products wherever I can. And so I'm stamping the cupcakes for the middle truck. This is going to be my sweet truck. And the ice cream cones, I didn't really have a way to have them standing up on point, so I decided to just stamp them on the side of the truck, kind of like a sign, that it would be a sign. So showing that ice cream is for sale there also. So I'm just stamping them there. filling them in on the side. And then we'll go on to the next thing. Do a little stamp off there. This is a taco. Want to see how it stamps. Put a taco on that truck. That will be my taco truck, obviously. And then do it on this one too. Trying to line it up right on that shelf. So there were some little flags in this set, and I thought, well, I'll just have some little flags for some color hanging off one of the trucks. The other one, I think I'll put it on the roof of the truck, just for some color and interest. Then I thought, well, I've got this blank space between the flags and the taco, so I'm going to go back and put another set of flags. And then here comes a teeny tiny hot dog, and for the hot dog truck, and I decided to do 2 hot dogs on that shelf. And we'll see how it looks on the other truck. I just decided to go with 1. Now I'm going to put some grass, like this is parked beside, these are parked beside a park. And so I'm just hand cutting some grass to try to make it look a little more realistic. And I'm taking just some clear embossing ink and just going around it, just because that will darken up the color of the paper just a little bit. And then on the other one, I'm going to do a heel. I just cut out a heel shape, and I'm making some streaks. Now this stamp set I'm going to use for the top of the card. I'll use this Dylusions stamp further around the edge all the time. I've just found it so versatile. You can see there to the side how I've stamped off so many of each one of those stamps, and I keep a file of them. Now I went back and I colored, and I'm going to continue to color in the flags to make this as colorful as I can. I'm placing where I want the grass to be, and now I'm going back and putting the Tombow glue on there and let it dry. And then here the grass. I'm putting down a strip of grass first before I mount the other grass on some mounting tape there. Now I wanted to show my original idea was to make that like a roller coaster. That's one of those Dylusion stamps, and I cut it apart. And but I just couldn't get the roller coaster to work. I was sorry about that. But so I'm going to make it, turn it upside down and make kind of an awning. Now I'm using my Prismacolors, and I will totally rush through that in just a minute. I wanted to show you how I did go back and splice this top of the card together because it didn't fit all the way. But going back to the coloring, fast coloring, of course I'm speeding through this, but they're such tiny objects, they don't take a lot of color, and so just using a lot of primary colors really just to keep it bright. And little stripes on the awning, just doing the thin stripes to make it easy on myself. And the banners and the cupcakes, doing things with reds and oranges and yellows and blues and greens mostly. And then the ice cream, and then start coloring in the little banners. And the flags. The flags are a good way to get in some color. On the trucks, on one of the trucks, I used 2 colors on the awnings. On one of them, I just used all the same color. I'm just showing that I'm very lightly putting in some sky. In fact, you almost can't see it, and very lightly putting in some ground with a little bit of highlights for the darker parts of the ground. So now this glue has dried. Now it's repositionable, and I can put these things down. I'm putting down a part of the heel in a lighter color green that I thought kind of matched one of the greens in the banner, and then the other green, and I had a lot left over. But that's okay. I'd rather have too much and cut it away than not have enough. Here's the second card. And that's how that topping came about. Just something to look kind of, I don't know, carnival-ish, or a lot of times these food trucks will be at the fair, or, you know, at just a park, period. But I wanted a festive atmosphere. So I'm cutting that off. I'm showing you, it wasn't long enough, so I had to splice it. I had to stamp another one and splice them together. And I'm just showing how I did that. And then go back and fill in where some of those lines, they didn't go all the way top, and that's fine, but I just wanted mine to go all the way to the top, so I just did it to make it look more finished. But and then matched the lines on the piece that I spliced in over there. And of course, now I'll have to go back and trim that off. But really, that just takes a few minutes, and I just wanted it to go all the way across the top. And the other little bit. So with the grass, even though I'm raising the grass up on foam dots, sometimes when you look down on those things, you see the white cardstock behind it. So I just wanted to have some green behind the green. So I put a little thin strip of green down there, and just some foam dots down, which sometimes can be tricky getting those covers off, and other times they just work like a breeze. But anyway, so I'm trying to peel those off and stick that down on top of the green, just to give it dimension and depth and shadow, and make it look more realistic. Now back to the first one, I thought I'll see if this sun looks good. I had a vision in my mind that a sun would look pretty. So that's from another stamp set somewhere, and just tried to slide it under those little, I'm calling them banners, and fiddle with that a little bit. That's the beauty of the repositionable glue. You can just pull it up. And so now you're going to see that I'm going to end up completely changing these tops. This top on the 3 trucks in a row, I'm going to switch over to the other card, and vice versa. So you will see that in a minute. But this is how they finished off the first time, and I could always go back because it's repositionable, and I could always go back and trade it off. But that's what they look like right now, colored and finished at this point. So now I've switched them out, and I'm patting those back down. I put the sun over on that side. It may stay, it may not stay, but I like this one better, so I'm going to leave it like this with the little banners on top of the 3 trucks that are staggered. So I'm taking a Zig Millennium pen, and I'm going back and writing in that this is the taco truck, and the other one is the hot dog truck. Now the sweets one, it has so much on it, I would have written sweets or desserts or something like that, but there really wasn't room to write it, and it's pretty obvious, excuse my hair, but it's pretty obvious that that is a sweet truck. So I'll write it again real quick on the other card, and you do not have to do fancy writing here, just get the message across. Sometimes it's easier to write in all caps. And so there they are finished, and I was so tickled. I got this stamp set out and started playing with it. It's so good for summertime. I've seen food trucks at Dallas Park. I've seen it in New York City. I'm sure they're everywhere right now. They're just so popular. And so I thought it was fitting at a good summertime card. So here's some still shots. I hope you enjoyed. There'll be some more videos at the end you might like to see, but thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll get a chance to try something like this. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.